the initiatives and programs listed. Realistically, that's about 24 of the 51 action items. And as some of you can appreciate, some of these items are in fact ongoing in nature. As an example would be the advocacy session. It continues to progress as we go through the economic reopening and implementation plan. I know Mayor mentioned will be questions. I believe after I'm done speaking, he is going to open it up and we're going to go through the actual tracking table section by section. I have asked some staff to join us today and provide some updates on some of those key action items. But again, as I mentioned, overall, it's been going very well. I do very much appreciate the support of the group. And just to make one example on the health and safety section, I know it was prominently the #1 key area of focus for almost all members, as was to the community at large, and we've almost completed 90% of those action items. So again, very, very well done by staff and all of you. The staff report also includes some sections around municipal, provincial, and federal changes, be it operationally or regulatory. From a city standpoint, a lot of the financial relief measures that were put in place back in March will be coming to an end at the end of September. So again, I'm not sure if council will revisit those, but those are listed in the original action plan. Some examples of this would be payment deferral tax relief and interest payments that have been deferred, the disconnection of utilities, and such forth in that matter. As some of you are probably aware, we are still under a state of emergency. The same can't be said for the province. So when the province announced that they were coming out of the state of emergency, I believe that was around July 24th. That also put into effect certain measures with respect to the declared emergency leave for some of the employees affected. And as you are probably aware, there is opportunity now to transition of those staff into another area from a compensation standpoint with respect to the infectious disease emergency leave. Again, the declared emergency leave ended on July 24th, and I believe the new measures will come to an end on September 4th. I'm certain there will be some impacts to people with respect to this, and that's something that this task force might have to address as these new dates come into effect. In terms of federal regulations, I think the biggest one is probably with respect to the CERB benefit. And again, they did extend this for a month, but that too will end at the end of September. I believe it's September the 27th, at which time they will also transition over to employment insurance. And if they are not eligible for that program, the federal government has also instituted, I believe it's 3 recovery benefit streams. The first one being if you're self-employed, you'll be entitled, I think it's 24 weeks, up to $400 a week. There's also 10 paid sick days that will be coming forward. Again, I believe that's $500 a week if people have to self-isolate due to COVID-19. And the final one will be with respect to childcare for children under 12. These still have not received final approval. As most of you are aware, the federal government still prorogued. I think it is till September the 23rd, so that will probably receive assent at that date. And the final one I'd like to mention is with respect to the Canadian Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance. So that program too, again, was extended by 1 month. So this will allow landlords and tenants for that matter to receive that program throughout August. So again, September and October, there's a lot happening. And I most certainly do see some impacts coming, and this task force very much might have to revise the plan as we do have it currently. So all in all, again, I'm very pleased at how this is coming together. To think we've achieved almost 50% completion in 2 months is, I never would have thought it would have went so fast, but again, I attribute that to staff as well as all of you. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you or answer any questions task members might have.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And I want to personally thank you and on behalf of City Council for the work that you and your staff have done over the last 2 months. You're right, you've done an incredible amount of work in developing it and then also implementing it. We're still a lot more to be done, but I think it's very encouraging to see the work that has been done to date. And it's not just our staff, but it's also working with the other organizations that agree to participate in some of the items. So just to be clear, what we're talking about right now is the written action plan update. And so I'll ask for a vote on this after asking if anybody has any questions. And then after that, we'll go through section by section, that tracking table. So that's how we're doing it. So does anybody have any questions then regarding the written action plan update report that Kevin just reviewed? Not seeing any raised hands. So is anyone opposed to us approving, receiving and approving the action plan update report? Seeing no raised hands, I assume then that that's passed. So then we'll now get into the tracking table. And what we're going to do is we'll go through each section. So I think there's 8 sections. And I'll ask Kevin to first highlight any item that he particularly wants to draw to our attention. And then I'll ask for any questions or discussion about any of the items in that section. And then we'll move to the next section. So let's talk about section 1, which is the analysis and risk assessment. Any comments about this section, Kevin?
There we go. My
Yeah.
microphone wasn't working. Nothing with respect to this section, Mr. Mayor.
Right. Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding this section? Just hit the raised hand. Not seeing any. Let's move to section 2, community health and safety. And is there anything in this section that you wanted to highlight beyond what you provided us by way of the written format?
No, again, this is one of the ones I mentioned in my summary. Almost 90% of the items are completed, so the only one ongoing would be 2A. But again, this reflects the continued weekly calls of the EOC and the Unified EOC.
Right. So I'll call for is there any questions or discussion on section 2? Okay. All right, not seeing any. Let's. Oh,
yes, please, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Utley. Councillor Utley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Kevin. How are the suppliers of PPE these days? Are companies, organizations getting the quantities that they need?
Through the chair to Councillor Utley's point, I think there's 2 parts of this question. Internally, I believe our supplies are adequate. We did just receive a significant shipment of hand sanitizer from Procter & Gamble. Again, we're discussing internally the uses that could be used internally, and if we do have surpluses, this will be opened up to the community at large, probably starting with the not-for-profits. In terms of externally, we haven't heard directly from many companies that are facing shortages, but again, I know that a lot of them have developed their own protocols and plans for that, and to my knowledge, they've had success in securing those supplies. I'm not sure if any task members could speak in more depth to that.
Thank you, Kevin. I wonder if Dave Prang, are you getting any feedback from businesses about PPE?
No, we've been sourcing them to our website, which is sort of hosting the central has a central list of companies in the community that are providing or either have retooled or are providing or have sourcing PPE. So that's generally our default has been just to refer them to our website. They can choose their provider of choice. So no concerns heard that way.
Thank you, Dave.
The only thing that I would add on that topic is we've been working with the Brantford County Hospital here in Brantford, and we're the only source of hand sanitizer because their current source or the previous source, which I think it was supplied through Deb Healthcare, if I'm not mistaken, or SC Johnson, was not providing the adequate quality they needed. So we've been solely supplying the Brantford Hospital out of this site here in Apotex.
That's great,
Jason. So any other questions or discussion regarding section 2? Seeing none, let's move into section 3, the municipal processes and initiatives. I think there's one item there you'd like to highlight for us, Kevin.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to ask May Legg to come on. She is the senior small business consultant at the BRC, specifically with respect to 3A, number 4, the business loan funding sources.
Thanks, Kevin. These also align with the Economic Recovery Action Initiative number 5. And there's 2 programs at the BRC we're introducing. In September, we're going to launch a small business recovery program. And this is part of the provincially funded Startup Company grant program, which we have administered for 5 years. Because of the COVID crisis and the impact on small business, the province, who administers the program, opened the door for small business enterprise centers like the BRC to modify our Starter Company grant program. So the BRC has developed a proposal to use $30,000 in grant funding. There will be 12 grants of $2,500 each to help small businesses that had to change their business models to maintain operations during COVID. This program is for businesses that have been in operation for 1 to 5 years and have less than 50 employees. And we are looking at launching this program in mid-September. We're also going to introduce a food venture program. This is a 12-week program because the BRC, we've seen an increase in clients who have created food products and are interested in taking them to market. And there's also been an uptake since COVID of restaurants introducing new products and expanding their revenue streams. The food venture program will help clients with things like recipe development, food packaging and nutrition labeling, and food safety. And then the BRC will work with these participants to help them develop their business and financial plans. And we hope to run this program in conjunction with the Startup Company Plus grant program. And this will also launch in mid-September.
Thanks for that, Meg. So any questions, discussion regarding any of those items in section 3? Just hit the raised hand.
Oh, raised hand.
Seeing none.
Through you, Mayor Davis, actually, it's Danette, and I'm trying to find my raised hand, and I can't find it. I apologize.
Okay.
I just wonder if May has any social media creations that she has made yet that could be shared with some of the other agencies in the community that we can use to help cross-market the programs.
The promotional material is just being developed right now. We are waiting to hear back from the food venture program and get that out. It should all be confirmed this week, and then I'll have something to you. And same with, we're developing a logo for the Starter Company Recovery, the Small Business Recovery Program, and I'll have that to you early next week for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Any other comments, questions, discussion?
I can just pipe in. It's Cindy Swanson from Enterprise Brand, and we're working closely with the BRC also on these things, and have complementary financing if it's required for some of these clients.
Great, thanks, Cindy. Any other comments? I don't have the gallery view, so I can't see if people are raising their hand. But anyways, any other comments or questions? All right, let's go to section 4, Kevin. I think there's one there you want to bring to our attention.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Before I do turn it over to staff, I would just ask if maybe Dave Prang could give a bit of an update on the Canada United campaign. I know that it was proclaimed at council last night, so maybe give him an opportunity to speak to that directly.
Sure. Excellent. Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Kevin and Kevin. Yeah, the Canada United campaign is launched primarily or significantly sponsored by RBC, but there's about 200 other partners in it from across Canada. It's a enhanced program for this weekend, August 28th to 30th, to encourage Canadians period to shop local. There's a through the social media campaign, there's a bunch of hashtags, contests to enter. I think there's 25 prizes of $10,000 for Canadians who've been able to shop local, and then enter through the Canada United webpage. And yes, we asked through the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, we asked City Council to approve a proclamation, and we're thankful that that was able to happen last night. And yeah, it's encourage you to everybody on the on this call anyway to go out and spend some money locally over the course of the weekend coming up.
Thanks, David. And I'll see what I can do. Any other discussion or comment on that? Okay, Kevin, let's go into section 4.
Yeah, so I'd also just like to highlight 4C. So I know that Carrie Davey and Sarah Monroe are on the call, so maybe they could show themselves and speak a bit to that one.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to update you on the marketing plan for the Mayor's Economic Recovery Task Force. The 30-page plan reflects the collective input from 15 individuals, including city staff members and representatives from the BIA and Hamilton-Halton Brant Regional Tourism Association. It includes a comprehensive review of the impact of COVID-19 on the following market segments. Tourism, which encompasses leisure, cycling, culinary, outdoor nature experiences, sport, arts and culture, film, hospitality, meetings and conventions, group tours, visitor services, and travel media. Economic development, Brantford Brant Business Resource Enterprise Center, Downtown Brantford BIA, RTO3, and Sanderson Center for the Performing Arts were also consulted. I'm very appreciative of all the subject matter experts who weighed in on these markets to give this plan the attention and detail it deserves. So before devising our own strategy for the city of Brantford, we took a look at other municipalities who are close to us in proximity or comparable in size. We noticed a trend in messaging that emphasizes strength of togetherness, a common goal of safety, and a desire to welcome visitors when they are ready to explore. This mirrors a lot of what Brantford staff has been promoting since the spring with both our Brantford Together campaign and Plan Now, Explore Later tagline as part of the visitor guide launch. The marketing plan working group devised 9 goals with 30 different objectives, all of which work towards addressing our overall mission statement, which is to offer support to our business community as they reopen, connect visitors and residences to the businesses that care about them, and preserve Brantford's image as a safe place to live, learn, and discover. Our target market includes residences, business owners, students, newcomers, and visitors. The key messages emphasized in our plan played a large role thematically in developing our goals, objectives, and strategies, including support local businesses, explore your own backyard, and Brantford is a safe place to live, learn, work, and play. The outcome of this plan includes more than 50 strategies that will help residents feel safer and more comfortable exploring Brantford, increase visitation from outside the city, and position Brantford as a desirable destination and home. Some of the bigger strategies include the creation of a brand new website for Tourism Brantford that has more information and will be a user-friendly experience, the development of the Brant Loop project to increase cycling tourism and tourism receipts in Brantford, update signage along the trail system to encourage off-trail spending, collaborate more with RTO, BIA, and educational institution partners, pursue a new public art initiative to beautify empty walls in the downtown core, create a student attraction package to welcome and attract students specifically to Brantford and not one institution over the other, investigate opportunities like Toronto City Pass to repurpose for BMGA and provide discounted offerings to museum and galleries in Brantford, create official paddling launch points within the city limits, and increase videography and photography that we can share with our local partners to leverage marketing efforts in the community. A lot of the strategies will be implemented in the short term and can run and be adaptable for the long term. Many of these marketing strategies are well underway already, and increased collaboration within the city and its partners will help Brantford to punch above its weight. Recognizing the new normal that we live in and that is constantly changing, this plan will continue to be modified over time. Tourism Brantford was also recently awarded a grant from the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario, which is going to fund a lot of these strategies. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Sarah Monroe to update you all on those specific initiatives.
Thanks, Kara. So as Kara mentioned, tourism received just under $180,000 for recovery and attraction efforts related to tourism assets in Brantford. This funding came through the Regional Relief Recovery Fund, which was offered by FedDev and administered by the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario. Our team has divided our campaign into two distinct segments: a locally focused campaign that aligns with our existing Brantford Together campaign, as well as a regional outreach campaign with the goal of drawing visitors from areas like Hamilton, London, Kitchener-Waterloo, and GTA. The local campaign includes ad buys in local media outlets, shop local campaigns and contests, and a push to increase resident spending in food and drink assets. We've also started to create short in-house videos that focus on the reopening of services and safety measures in place. The most recent videos that we've published on the City of Brantford Tourism Facebook page are for the Brantford Visitor and Tourism Center and from Mercasa Little Italy Eatery. You'll see these videos published weekly on our Facebook page. Our wider campaign has ad buys in significant magazines like Horizon and Maclean's. Typically, these types of ads are completely out of our reach, so it's been great to invest in larger markets that have a much wider reach. To align with the corporate values of keeping our community safe, the assets we're promoting to visitors from out of town are social distancing friendly, or they have excellent safety measures in place, such as paddling and cycling. Both campaigns are supported by a significant investment in both photography and videography that will be useful for tourism attraction beyond 2020, and which we can then share with our partners, including RTO3 and the individual assets that may not have the means to invest in these professional services themselves. Finally, this grant has allowed us to completely redevelop the Discover Brantford website. We're working on this project with eSolutions and aligning our new website with the award-winning City of Brantford and Advantage Brantford websites. And we will have an update on this project for you at the next meeting.
Thank you very much, Kara and Sarah. An excellent example of fine work that's being done by staff, prompted in part and directed in part by what the work this task force has done. So anybody have any questions for Kara and Sarah? Sounds like a very extensive, thorough, well thought out campaign to help an area of our economy that really has, of course, been impacted by this. Seeing none, so I'll move to section 5, which is program delivery and resource development.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. For this one, I'm going to call on Kevin to cook, and I know Heidi and Beth are on the line. They've been involved with item 5C specifically. So Kevin, if you don't mind.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. This will address 5C and also 6B and 7D, which involve measures to support post-secondary here in Brantford. What we were able to do through the summer is actually quite remarkable, and the participation of the different stakeholders has been exemplary. I'm just so grateful for everybody who has had the opportunity to take some time and really weigh in on these things. So in each of these initiatives, we've met 3 times virtually. And the first one is 5C, which is the student attraction package. So that group continues its work. We're doing some research at this time, and we're trying to focus, recognizing that with school year starting just around the corner here, really the focus and thrust of this will be for September of 2021. So the group is working towards gathering information around what students' experiences have been, their choices, why they would choose a community to study in, and what are the assets and attractions there that really pull them in. So we are going to be gathering data through student experiences and using that information to create a marketing package that is both digital and print versions that can be included for introductory and then welcome packages as students really select Brantford as their destination for studying. In 6B and 7D, though somewhat related, what's happened here is that the group identified that there is a list of resources that can be gathered and will help bridge the gap between students, between businesses, and between the labor force itself. So 6B, I'm going to jump into that, really links post-secondary students and small businesses. So the request there was to tap into the knowledge that some post-secondary students may have to help leverage smaller businesses as they transition to online, and recognizing that as we went through this summer, a lot of the small businesses were able to find resources, particularly things like Digital Main Street, to help them transition online. So the need for this diminished somewhat, but there's still a recognized need to link post-secondary students and placements, co-op opportunities and businesses. So that is being addressed at the same time as 7D, which is the kind of reskilling, retraining, and upskilling, and what programs exist here. So the discussions around both of them pointed to finding an online resource that would be central to our community and allow individuals, whether they are looking for retraining, students looking for co-op opportunities, or businesses who would require some of the skills in between, and create linkages between that. So the conclusion of that is that the Workforce Planning Board Grand Erie will be striking a working group to be looking at how this can be housed on their Grand Erie Jobs portal. So Grand Erie Jobs launched in June, a soft launch, and I believe there's a big launch happening this fall, and we're excited to see that resource continue to grow and develop. And there's essentially a fourth kind of leg to it that will be coming out. And so this working group will help bring together a lot of the assets that we identified, different programs that are available to students, or programs that are available for upskilling. And it would extend beyond post-secondary. It would also work with some of our EO partners and other agencies here in Brantford and even beyond. So we're excited about the work that will be done on that, and recognizing that the continued cooperation of this group and the working groups that were struck really has achieved some great things this summer.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin. And you know, I've done a few things working with Lori as well. It's important that we support our post-secondary institutions and helping them attract students here. It's important for the downtown. I think it's important for our younger community as well. So any questions about that? Okay, so we got section 6, the digital integration and connectivity. Kevin, any comment about that?
I think Kevin hit on the one that I was going to highlight, but again, open to any questions any members might have.
I guess your work plan has answered a lot of questions, a lot of detail here. Section 7, workforce development and opportunities.
Yeah, again, I think I'd like to give Danette an opportunity here. I know that they have a lot going on with their recovery task force. Kevin DeCook did mention the job portal. I know that they have some other exciting things coming down the pipeline in October. So I'd like to hand it over to Danette.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Through you, Mayor Davis. Yes, the job portal is live. We did do a soft launch, like Kevin mentioned, at the end of June, and we are working as quickly as we can with our provider to develop the enhancements that are necessary. So we have spent the last 2 weeks in conversation about some of these things that Kevin DeCook just mentioned, working with our working group. We did have some discussions with Heidi as well about the development of this for the purposes of co-op, highlighting co-op positions in the community and having that housed on Grand Erie Jobs. So we're trying to figure out the best platform, the best format for this to develop that. So that's coming along, and we will be putting together the working group in short order as well. With respect to the Grand Erie Jobs job fair and skills exploration event, we're working away furiously at that as well. We just had a media release go out in the Expositor yesterday, highlighting the event, and it will be housed on the B-Fairs platform. We currently are offering space for up to 35 exhibitors to be in the exhibition hall. Those will be for businesses and agencies throughout Grand Erie, so Brantford, as well as our surrounding communities. We are maxing out at this point. Things are filling up quickly. So if there is anybody on the call that is interested in a booth, please let us know. there is opportunity to get more. So if we get to that point, we may have to set a second floor, which is exciting. We also have a series of webinars that we'll be offering in the auditorium space, the virtual auditorium space, with a keynote speaker in the evening, and some very interesting webinars throughout the day as well. So lots going on to motivate and inspire the workforce, and to provide opportunities to local businesses to highlight the work that they're doing, and the needs that they have from a workforce perspective. We're working on a transportation study as well at this point, which we'll highlight at the virtual fair platform on October the 6th. And that is more of an area-wide study that we're going to be doing. And we are working on marketing strategy as well, which a number of you have been part of in the interview process. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your support with that project. And we will be having an update on our COVID-19 Recovery Task Force survey that we just completed, coming out on Tuesday next week, with a follow-up meeting on September 16th, the meeting invite, which I will be sending probably later this evening to the local labor market planning committee. So if there's anybody here on this call that's interested in being part of that committee that hasn't been invited, it's inclusive, so you're more than welcome to attend. You just have to let me know if I haven't already included you. And we will be developing scenarios from the COVID-19 survey work that we have completed throughout the Grand Erie area. So it includes Brantford and, like I said, all the surrounding communities as well. So we're excited to work with all of our area municipalities that we serve, and find ways of working together to make things more efficient moving forward. So I think that's about all I have. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, thanks, Danette. So are there any questions for Danette? Now, one thing I'm going to have to say, I've just been notified by clerk staff that we may be one short of quorum. So we're going to have to take a short 2-minute break as well. Corey, did you want to redo the roll call just to make sure?
Thank you, Mayor Davis. I can certainly do that.
Okay.
Representative from Will Bama's office.
Here.
Darren Cleary sends his regrets. Shoot. Okay. Danette Dalton.
Here.
Mayor Kevin Davis.
Here.
Jason Fisher.
Here.
Martha George.
Here.
Paul Cortana. Don Guest. Josh Harrison. Tina Headley. Leanne Corbett.
Yeah, Leanne instead of Tina. Okay,
thank you, Leanne. Matt Jameson. Ken Caracas.
Here.
Paul Kwasnick sent his regrets. Mark Lazenby. Joanne Lewis.
Here.
Alan Levitt sends regrets. Lily Lumsden.
Here.
Representative from Phil McColeman's office.
Here.
Councillor Dan McCreary. Janice Montour. Heidi Northwood.
Here.
Linda Parker sends regrets. David Prang.
Here.
Fabricio Secco. Rosa Coley. Stephen Spears.
Here.
Cheryl Stewart. Jennifer Stewart. Barb Sutherland.
Here.
Cindy Swanson.
Here.
Dr. Elizabeth Urbanski. Councillor John Utley.
Here.
Heather Banner sends regrets. Peter Vicano.
Here.
And Malcolm White.
Here.
Thank you.
What's the verdict, Corey?
We have 18 members. Mayor Davis, we've lost quorum.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so actually we had passed the resolutions we had to, but so technically we can't do any more business, but I think what I would like to do is since we're gathered together here, we kind of looked specifically at the spreadsheet. But before we leave, I wanted to kind of throw the floor open to, does anybody have any general comments about the recovery plan, what's happening now, what they'd like to see happen? Knowing that we're not really moving forward the business, but just really for informational purposes for myself and staff. So happy to throw the floor open if someone has something top of mind that they think is an important information piece for the Economic Recovery Task Force. Is that, yes, Mr. Vicano.
Yes, Kevin, I'm wondering what will be the plan, or should we be planning should an outbreak begin occurring because of things that are going to be changing soon, like the kids or children going back to school? Or should we start seeing a spike, whereas as we go into the fall, I don't know what the fall has to do with it, but some people are predicting that the cooler weathers will maybe increase the people getting the COVID. Should we be doing some planning ahead, if and when it does happen, so it can be quickly reacted upon?
Yeah, I'll just say briefly to that. A lot of the planning for that, of course, comes out of the province, and we do have an emergency operations committee, and also a joint operations committee with the Six Nations and County of Brant. I mean, they've been planning for this, the possibility of a second wave. And it really is a question of continuing what's been done. I think that the face coverings bylaw is part of that, to minimize the risk. So it's constantly top of mind for those who are involved in planning emergency operations. But I have to say this, unfortunately, I've been advised by city clerk staff that I must bring the meeting to an end. Our rules here are very, very strict. And so what I'm going to do is, I did talk about this in the beginning, that if we lose quorum, we'll try for, up to, I think it's 15 minutes. But I think if we do that, we're probably going to just continue to lose our quorum. But I ask you to give us about 3 minutes. We'll see if we can't bring somebody back into the meeting who's not here. And if we can't do that, then we're going to have to bring it to an end. But that being said, if there's something like what Mr. Vicano has just said that you want the team to be aware of here, then certainly don't hesitate to call us or send us an email. So ask you, might as well take a little bit of a break for about, let's say a maximum of 5 minutes, and we'll see what we can do to get back quorum so we can finish off this discussion, which was kind of going to end our meeting anyways, because there are no resolutions or notices of motion. So we'll take a quick little break, and we'll see what we can do here to bring somebody back into the meeting.
Hi, Leanne. Were you successful in getting the engineers over?
Yep, they started today.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, everything is good. Thank goodness. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that was a bit of a panic, but
I'm going to do that. Hi there, it's Corey Francis speaking. I'm just wondering if Jennifer Stewart or Lily Lumsden can confirm that they're a part of the call.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you, Jennifer. Lily, are you a part of the call?
sorry for that procedural glitch. I think I've found one member because we're only one member short for a quorum. And I think I've got one that will be able to join us in a minute or two. So I'm hoping we can resume, finish the general discussion about our recovery plan, and then move forward to during the meeting. So just give us a few more minutes, but I think we can bring us back to quorum.
Corey, can you hear me? It's Sarah.
Hey Sarah, it's Emma. She doesn't have her mic on. I can hear you though.
That's okay. Emma, Janice is on her way. She's going to be on.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Corey, quick question from Heidi.
Go ahead, Heidi.
I am going to have to leave in a few minutes, but Beth is here. Can she vote on my behalf or be
Yes,
she can be me?
Yes, she can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to leave soon too. I'm sorry, I gotta go.
I'm sorry, the person who said that they just had to go, could you identify yourself, please?
It's Jennifer Stewart.
Jennifer Stewart? We're just about to start again, Jennifer. Are you able to stay on the call?
No, I need to make a phone call.
Okay, we'll get back to the group in just a moment. Thank you.
Thanks for dialing in, Janice. Might have been
You're
all.
welcome.
It might have been all for nothing.
Oh no, sorry. I just got off a board meeting.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
We're just waiting for one more person who confirmed that they will be joining us, so it'll just be a few more minutes.
Thank you for your patience. We've attained quorum. Janice Martours joined us, and Councillor McCreary. So we were just dealing with Peter Vicano's question about preparing for possible second wave. And so Peter, it's really about the public health precautions and of course the city preparing for whatever it might have to. In terms of the economic recovery, I guess that strategy is avoiding lockdown at all costs, but of course that's determined by the public health authorities. But it's what we can do as a community to prevent the transmission rate from climbing, such as face coverings and the other things we've talked about. That it's a preventative measure. We know we're probably going to face an increase of some kind, an uptick, and it's just trying to make it manageable so it doesn't create the same situation we dealt with in the spring. I don't know if anybody else, staff member, has any comment about that. Kevin Finney?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, Mr. Mayor. The uncertainty is the hard thing to factor into this, right? If we do see that spike, again, I think it's that reaction phase again, and how we can maybe reconvene and deal with it when it comes about. But it's very hard to predict what that might look like at this point.
So any other general comments, discussion, talk about the future that anybody would like to raise? And thank you for your patience in hanging in until we got our quorum back. Anybody? Yeah, Kevin?
I'm not sure if your plan is to go to section 8 yet, Mr. Mayor, but we do have one section left. So if I could just speak to that.
Okay.
Again, we're fortunate to have Leanne Corbett on the phone, and I know some of her advocacy efforts through the mayor's office, Councillor Utley, MPP's office. We were able to assist Mitsui in securing some of their temporary foreign laborers coming over. And again, I know we have Leanne on the phone. So Leanne, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, sorry, it's really loud here, so I'm trying to mute it as much as I can. Yes, thanks for everyone that was part of that. That was very tricky. And there is, I know, a lot of paperwork and a lot of conversations back and forth, but I'm happy to report that they self-isolated at the Newtown Place for 14 days, and they were able to start today. So all is well. Everyone is very happy. So thank you again very much.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that was a team effort, and it was about bringing in someone from outside the country, that several people that were needed to assist in a production process issue.
Everything went really smoothly at the airports, and they didn't have any problems.
Yeah, so to do that, just so people know, it is a fairly complicated procedure, and it does take a lot of cooperation amongst the MP's office, and of course the company itself, and also City Hall, where we helped out as best we could. That's an example of adapting to what we're dealing with. So any other questions or comments? That was section 8 we're dealing with, so the last section. I know I kind of preempted that by throwing open the floor to anyone who wanted to make any more general comments or raise any more general type issues.
It's Cindy.
Yep.
I'm curious of how the downtown is doing, maybe through you to Barbara, some of the challenges with not having the students coming back in the same way that they had before, and what opportunities there are for downtown.
An excellent question.
May I answer?
Yes, certainly, Barbara, please answer that, I think.
Yes, okay. The student population is definitely key to thriving businesses in the downtown. And, they have opened, and, those who did have customers, particularly restaurants, the other businesses are still really struggling because people are not walking the streets downtown. And, we've noticed that trend for the last several weeks. We don't have foot traffic down there at all. I've attended a couple of the restaurants myself, actually, in the last couple of weeks, and there are more people with Skip the Dishes than there are, attending inside. But that's okay. They still have business, which is good to see. I've heard from Laurier and Conestoga, apparently there will be some students back. In fact, I've noticed, you know, just in the last week, a few of the younger people just sort of, again, you know, having dinner and having a walk along the street. But we're certainly not overrun with foot traffic. It's pretty quiet down there, and I'm on behalf of the BIA. We are extremely concerned for the viability of the downtown for many reasons. Thank you.
Anything we can do to assist in the interim? Come downtown, go to the restaurants and shop.
Yes, come shop, come to the restaurants. You know, bring some foot traffic downtown so it actually looks like people are in the downtown. You know, that's so important. You know, just the visibility of the community actually, you know, going from door to door. But you know, it's a different time. You know, as much as we can feel safer perhaps with our masks, and I think that has had a tremendous impact on our community as far as our safety. And people have been very good, although, you know, like you hear the businesses complaining, because there are some people who don't like to wear masks and will come into your business and be very bold and confrontational. So we've had a number of incidents with that. You know, you can't change, you know, human behavior, and we have no control over that. So, but I think it's a safer place. I know it's safer. The BIA has provided PPE to all of our businesses, 4 stickers. We've provided positive messaging as far as posters in the window, and actually we have another campaign to say thank you to the shoppers who have come down and supported our businesses. And you know, hopefully, you know, with just these messages, the Lauren Bridge banners, we put those up just to, not just for the BIA, but for the city in general, just to help with, you know, with the city's campaign and Brant County's campaign to just say that we're all surviving. We will survive, but we're not doing as well as we hoped we would. And, you know, if a second wave comes, I hesitate to predict what will happen to our businesses downtown.
Yeah, I wonder if Heidi and Stephen, is there anything you can share with us publicly about what the plan might be, say, in January? Obviously, I would think you're hoping it'd be back up and running full tilt as of next September, but is there a possibility of some kind of more expansive return in January, or you just can't discuss it at this point because you haven't figured it out?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Heidi did have to step away.
Okay.
So I can share that we don't know the January plan, but I do know that our pandemic response steering committee does have it on their agenda, and that we hope within probably a month's time to be able to speak to it. With your permission, can I just share a general update too, since it sort of builds off of some of what Barbara was speaking to?
Sure.
So Heidi just asked me to share with the group that we are committed to making it as positive an experience for our students as possible. We know that it's not an ideal year for people in post-secondary, but that's a global phenomenon. So we're going to do our best. We've had teams working really extensively at making a virtual, virtual a week and different experiences so students still feel connected. We will have students returning to residence, but in much smaller numbers because of safety. We're housing students 1 per restroom as opposed to 1 per bedroom, or even 2 per bedroom. Sometimes we do. So it will be less students, but we are also looking at serving the students who are in residence and also in the community. The struggle right now is we really can't get a clear grasp on who's planning on moving back to their student home off campus and who's not. But we do anticipate definitely students back in the community. We want it to be a positive experience for them downtown as well. So, and we're mindful of the lower numbers. So we're actually having some discussion this week around mapping out the student experience, and then probably reaching out to many of the folks on this call today to talk about how we support each other in making sure that those folks are out and about downtown. For those in residence, I can say this, as you may know, the Laurier One Card program, we don't have food services. So all of the businesses on our One Card for our students where they can buy meals are privately owned local businesses. So I anticipate, because they have very strict rules in residence, no visitors, those sorts of things, they'll be making good use, hopefully, of those one cards to get out and about and have a change of scenery, because things are so restrictive. So we're, as I say, we're working diligently on making it the best possible experience under the circumstances. I will make a note for Heidi to make sure that she reports back to this group when we know more about the winter term.
Even anything from Conestoga?
Nothing different, Mr. Mayor. We obviously our numbers have been pretty seriously impacted for the fall, and we are holding out hope that that we can return to something that's a little more normal in January. But again, that's we're very much in a wait and see with everyone else in the sector. There's no question about that. So. And doing everything we can to support the domestic students that we have coming in for our programming. We do have lots of content that's been moved online, but we also have to run our shops, etc. So we're going to be busy out at the airport for the fall, and hoping again sooner than later that we're back to quote unquote, I guess back to 2019 normal. How's that?
That'd be great. All right. Any other general discussion or comments about the recovery plan? Councillor Ratley, I think I saw you raise your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick, when is 1 Wellington scheduled to be ready for occupation? I'm saying that because that's going to be one key move in bringing more people to the downtown area.
I can take a stab at that one, John. I don't know the definitive date for full finishing of that building. I know they're progressing along well and on schedule. I would predict probably sometime late spring, summer next year.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
All right. Yeah, David, Frank.
Yeah, just on back to the downtown piece. I was fortunate to host Andrea Horvath this afternoon at Coffee Culture downtown, and shared with her some of the work that we've collectively been doing as a community, and for her efforts with the opposition at Queen's Park, I guess as the official opposition at Queen's Park. So sort of brought her up to speed on some of that, as well as notable in Victoria Park from what we could all do is populate Victoria Park with people that would be more likely to spend money than the people that were spending the day, morning and afternoon, and probably the evening there. So there, I mean, the transient population, both that visits the chamber office as well as Victoria Park, that's with the weather continuing to be pretty good. They're visible and perhaps making it not comfortable for those that might be more willing to part with some dollars out of their wallet.
Any other discussion or comment? Okay. Well, to move forward then on our agenda, so we don't have any resolution.
Mr. Mayor,
yeah,
Mr. Peter Vacano's got his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Hi,
Yes.
Kevin. I did raise my hand, but I guess no one saw it. You know something, I'm confused with what some people are saying here about attending restaurants downtown. I haven't been to a restaurant since early March. And I don't understand, why would you want to promote gatherings anyway? Are we not speaking through two sides of our mouths here?
No, because I mean, many of the restaurants have patios, right? And there is limited inside seating, which has been approved by the public health authorities. So, and they're the ones that determine, you know, if it's permissible and how you do it safely. So it's not as if, I don't think, businesses or people or institutions have, you know, gone off and done openings that are unsafe, because I can assure you that, I mean, the health unit certainly has jurisdiction over restaurants, and I know they have a very active enforcement division that really concentrates on restaurants. So Is there a risk? Sure. I mean, there's a risk to all of us coming out of our homes and moving out of lockdown. But the actual how it's done and the rules that apply, it's determined by the province and provincial health authorities. It's actually fairly actually detailed what restaurants have to do. And there's actually about 107 different guidelines for businesses across the different businesses that come out of the province of Ontario. So.
Okay.
I mean, that being said, I think people are still uncomfortable about going inside. I think certainly the outside restaurant patio have been much more popular, but the problem is when the fall weather arrives, people won't want to sit in patios. Yeah, it's an issue. So, point taken though. Yes, Barbara, did you want to make another comment? So you raised your hand there.
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Just to Peter, just to respond to that, I should have clarified, when I was in a restaurant, I was actually in the works, and there were 6 of us in the works, not all sitting together, like couples of 2, and a good 12, 15 feet apart. Like, you know, we were well spaced. Having said that, I did leave before one group of 10 came in and another group of 8 came in. So I share your concern about eating in restaurants and not having the space to, or you know, the option or perhaps in the willingness to spread out onto the sidewalks for cafe purposes. So yeah, it's a personal choice. I don't feel comfortable in crowded restaurants either, and I probably won't do it again for a very long time.
So any other comments or discussion? All right, so we have, sorry for that 10-minute delay as we got quorum. So there are no resolutions and there are no notices of motion. So the date of the next meeting, you know, it's at my call, likely would be later in October. It's, as we've all said, and it's been raised several times, you know, what is September going to bring to us? When people begin gathering indoors again because of the weather and the change of seasons. And so, but I think we've done a lot of progress here, and I think we're really waiting then to see if there is going to be a second uptick. And so depending on that and depending what we're seeing in the middle of September, you know, could well be calling for a meeting in mid-October to somewhere in November. So I don't think we want to have a meeting just for the sake of a meeting, but certainly by then, I think we would be due for an update anyways, and there may be other reasons, more urgent reasons for why we should reconvene. Let's hope not, but that's possible. So with that, I want to thank you for your patience and perseverance and staying on the line today so we can finish the meeting. And hope you all have a good weekend and safe conclusion to the ends of your summer.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.